All right, it's so great to see everybody here today for our second in-person MicroStrategy World. Being at Hilton in the hospitality and travel industry, obviously we're very invested in people traveling and getting together for great conferences like this. So thank you everybody that made the trip out, and it's great to see everybody. My name is Ben Tubin. I'm the Director of Enterprise Business Intelligence here at Hilton, and I'm so excited to share with you some of the progress on an initiative that's been in the making for about a year and a half now, I think. And it's really a project aiming to do two things. One is bringing intelligence everywhere, which for those of you that have been around MicroStrategy long enough to hear that credo pounded on you multiple times, we very much live by that credo, and it's what we've aimed to do with this project. And the second thing, and Fong actually touched on it a little bit this morning, is the idea of application sprawl. Is something that we're also very much tackling with this project, and something that's very real at Hilton, being a 105-year-old company now. Dozens and dozens of applications and reporting systems that we're trying to consolidate and bring that single source of truth that everybody desires. But I'm at risk of stealing too much thunder from our marvelous team here that's going to be doing all the heavy lifting. So it's my pleasure to introduce two of the very talented product managers that have helped to make this initiative come to life. So without further ado, I'll go ahead and hand it over to Matt Waits and Zara Shirazi to break down the Hilton Reporting Hub for you.
All right, thanks, Ben. I'm just going to kick us off just giving a little more of the inspiration and background and vision of the project, and then Zara will come up here in a little bit and talk through our current state and change management, and then we'll wrap up discussing our partnership with our MicroStrategy consultants and some of our platform optimization work. So what really inspired this is what Ben talked about. With Hilton, you know, like a lot of other companies, I'm sure, we've been through a journey over the years with different reporting platforms. The opportunity before us was to take a closer look at our current reporting ecosystem, which, you know, a lot of it was custom-based web applications, other BI platforms adopted by different teams with potentially different data sources and business rules for similar information. Over time, this starts to add up in terms of maintenance and ease of use. So we started to imagine what it could look like to bring all these things together into one platform where there's a single source of truth, more consistent user experience. And we knew we weren't going to be able to change decades of reporting processes overnight. It was going to take a lot of planning and resources to really do this effectively. And so our vision is to deliver a centralized platform called Hilton Reporting Hub using MicroStrategy that will meet the needs of these 4% persona groups that we're serving. Now, this is a broad, diverse, global user base that we're talking about. Thousands of different users with varying levels of experience with BI products, and in most cases, we're asking these teams to adopt our new platform in replacement of reports that they may have been using for years and are more familiar with. Just looking at the top, you know, our ownership management groups and our hotel property teams, you know, for these groups, you know, we're trying to increase their ease of access to the operational data that they need and ultimately improve the data literacy across our partner community. And then for our regional support teams and corporate teams, some of whom are already being served through some MicroStrategy dashboards, but we're trying to give them a common platform so that they can interact with the same reporting, same information as the hotel teams that they support. So I'm going to pass it over to Zara to talk a little more about how we're doing so far.
Thank you, Matt. In this section, we'll review the current state of Hilton Reporting Hub, or HRH, and delve into some key benefits of leveraging MicroStrategy Library. First, beginning with current state, we initially launched our MVP in October of last year and are continuing to scale to a global user base by migrating users from legacy systems to HRH. The graph depicted here illustrates our growth from 0 users in October to now approaching 9,000 users in May. Given the growing user base and report offerings in HRH, two key efforts are ensuring we meet performance targets and expanding the business domains covered by reporting in HRH. In upcoming sections, we'll provide details on how we've established a scalable foundation and continuously track performance. To provide a more tangible view of HRH, we have a couple examples of the user interface and overall organization of the platform. The top left image depicts the HRH library, which essentially serves as an initial landing page where users can access the library menu and view all available dashboards. Some menu options include viewing recent and favorite dashboards, managing subscriptions, and accessing default groups. Once a user selects a dashboard, the table of contents can be utilized, depicted in the bottom right image, to display an overview of all available chapters and pages. From here, a user can directly select the section they wish to navigate to. The key benefits of HRH can be broken out into 4 primary categories. First, HRH is a modernized platform that consolidates reporting across multiple legacy systems into a single platform and creates the opportunity to expand to new performance areas, ultimately establishing a one-stop shop repository for Hilton reporting. Second, unlike legacy systems, HRH users can access the platform without the need for a VPN. The data accessibility created by allowing HRH users to access through single sign-on is a major benefit we've received positive feedback on from our user base. Next, HRH provides reliable insights through a single source of truth that is consistent with corporate, property, and above property users. With multiple data refreshes daily, HRH users can always source the most current information. Finally, the enhanced user experience enabled through MicroStrategy Library allows for features not available in legacy systems. HRH users can interact with the data prior to exporting a report and generate multiple reports from a single consolidated view instead of navigating static menus. Users can also create bookmarks and save views, create subscriptions that automate report delivery directly to their inbox, and leverage dynamic currency conversions to view reporting in their local currency. Now that we've reviewed the business value of HRH and the platform itself, we want to spend some time sharing an overview of the change management process involved in actually migrating users from legacy systems to HRH. Dedicating change management resources to this effort has been pivotal to providing a transparent and educational experience to the users joining HRH. Our change management has involved creating onboarding materials, strategically organizing users into sequence deployment waves, and crafting the messaging around the new platform activation. Additionally, our change management has consisted of conducting stakeholder engagement to inform leadership of which users we plan to migrate to HRH. In terms of the deployment itself, we host multiple kickoff calls and office hours to provide each wave of users with an introduction to HRH and the self-service resources that are available to them. Finally, the communications component is embedded throughout both change management and deployment, and ultimately serves to keep both stakeholders and users informed before, during, and after the onboarding process. The self-service resources created by our product and change management teams are central to promoting user adoption. We created a webpage that contains training materials and resources and is accessible by anyone with a Hilton ID. From this page, users can access a plethora of training materials ranging from training documentation and videos to newsletters and release notes. Additionally, users can submit feedback, access the technology support portal, and directly navigate to the HRH platform from this page. In terms of onboarding in the platform itself, we've leveraged the ability to create dashboards to design a new user dashboard that contains information on navigating the platform, self-service resources, and how to receive technical support. We faced a challenge when attempting to customize MicroStrategy's Take a Tour feature and instead decided to design an onboarding dashboard as our solution. As we continue to deploy incremental releases of dashboards and features to HRH, collecting user feedback is the key to improving the existing platform. We offer our user base multiple intake channels to submit feedback, review every submission, and prioritize our backlog of requests to implement top enhancement requests. Once a request is prioritized, our product team collaborates cross-functionally with our development teams to design and implement a solution that meets user needs. From here, our feedback loop consists of relaying updates back to our user base through communications and release notes. Now I'll pass it back to Matt to touch on our partnership with MicroStrategy.
Thanks, Zara. So we've been working with MicroStrategy consultants closely, throughout this project, and we've enlisted their support in these 4 key areas. And want to give a shout out to Sean as one of our consultants here. We've done many Teams call with him, and they've been a great help to us along the way. And the first area is infrastructure, and this is where we've been working to optimize our Redshift environment and going through the process of concurrency testing, just really making sure that our platform can scale to more and more users being onboarded using the reports and potentially accessing the reports simultaneously, and we still want these reports to perform. And in terms of architecture, I think Zara mentioned our single sign-on capability has been really a big hit with our user base and in terms of ease of onboarding and access, and the whole setup process was very, very important for that. And as we scale to different user groups and user personas that may have slightly different security needs, maintaining the SSO capability is going to be important. In terms of application performance, again, this is just making sure that we've designed our dashboards to perform at scale, and that we're designing our reports in a way that's going to perform sustainably over time. And then with modernization user experience, this is really where we're trying to focus on. We're working on designing and developing reports more to define persona groups so that we can deliver really a more efficient experience of delivering relevant data to specific users and still have high performing reports, meaning we're not throwing too much data into one report to try to meet everyone's needs. We start customizing a bit better and getting users towards the more critical data that they're looking for and ease of navigation. This is another great example of our partnership with the consulting team that helped us to develop this usage analysis dashboard. And this is leveraging out-of-the-box platform analytics data. And it's been really important for us as a team in terms of our success. One, to just monitor usage of the reports. As we're deploying to users, we want to see what reports they're using, how often they're being accessed, and really to get some evidence that this platform adoption is occurring in terms of which reports people are coming in using and how that activity has grown and evolved with trending. And then the other piece is our execution time and reporting performance, making sure that the reports are returning data within expected timeframes. Just all that critical monitoring, looking for opportunities where performance starts to dip below our expectations. We can start proactively investigating and making adjustments. Another example of our user tracking is just in our deployment activity. We have segregated our users into different deployment waves, and so we can actually track which users have gone onto the platform, access reports based on whatever deployment wave they were a part of. So we can see how the user base has grown over time and which onboarding activities are driving adoption. And then with performance analysis tracking, another example where we're monitoring execution time and the trending. Looking for opportunities. Are there certain times of day, certain days a week where the platform is getting hit more, where we need to scale up and adjust. And then talking a little more about platform optimization, our plan as we continue to scale our user base, more and more thousands of users, more and more reports, we want to make sure we have a sustainable, stable platform that the reports continue to work and everyone has a great experience as we continue to grow. So in order to do that, we've got a 3-pronged strategy that we're going to maintain as we optimize performance. First part of that is solution design. That's where us as a product team are partnering with our BI developers in terms of how we design reports to perform going forward. Our MicroStrategy platform optimization, we have our dedicated admin team that's keeping an eye on that. And then our data platform optimization. This is where we have internal data partners in our IT organization that we work with. And give you a little more detail as to what we're working on with these work streams. Under solution design, again, this is about that persona-based reporting and improving personalization, starting to design to more specific use cases, and really strike that balance between the data volume that we put into reports and delivering the relevant information that users actually need, being more thoughtful as we design reports going forward. And then efficiencies with the reporting platform is really about the the upgrades in our journey to migrate to MicroStrategy Cloud, and the proactive monitoring of the platform and system as we go forward. And then finally, on the data platform side, it's really, again, striking that balance between storage and compute capabilities, and balancing the approach of real-time queries versus cached data sets or data cubes. So we have reports that do both, and so that's part of our design decision going forward is what's the best use of our reports as we build. And so to wrap things up, just talking about our next steps in future state, we realize in terms of our long-term vision, we're still really only at the beginning, but we're setting a solid foundation that's going to position us to grow and innovate more. And we plan to continue scaling and increasing our user base, impacting more users and more business teams within our organization. And as we do that, we know we need to expand our reporting to integrate more business domains. We're tackling revenue reservation data right now as kind of our first data set, but we know we have lots of other data sets within Hilton that we want to impact with this platform. And then ultimately that's leading up to our desired end of a federated development model. And what that really means is we want to be able to enable other teams in our organization to deliver relevant content, to leverage our platform using best practices, development standards, and a consistent user experience. So it's not going to be limited to one project team as we grow this platform. We know we need to get others involved, but we want to have that continuity and so that standard user experience. So with that, we want to allow some time for questions. If anyone has any questions?
You talked a little bit about your end users. Can you talk more about who are your key user groups and what kind of data or reports are finding most valuable?
Yeah, so initially our key, we have hotel revenue managers in our revenue management organization that has been one of the main user groups that we're deploying to right now. But that user base, can be broad, and that can encompass different roles within our company, within the hotel business. But it also extends to sales departments, hotel general managers, and then our hotel owners and management companies that are overseeing a portfolio of properties. So it really is a pretty broad mix. But in terms of the actual data that we're delivering right now, it is more in that revenue discipline.
So with, for example, a hotel manager, they're not exactly always the most tech savvy.
Right.
They're more people focused. So at our company, we're a retail company, and our end user eventually is to be managers of Salesforce. How do you overcome the challenge of teaching an end user who isn't tech savvy how to use the new tool?
Yeah, it's a great question, and that's why we have a dedicated change management and training team. So we've got dedicated people that are doing nothing but building training documentations, doing the webinars. They're wholly focused on being able to answer those questions. So we've really tried to lean on putting a lot of resources towards change management and support, so that anybody that's kind of new to the platform is going to get their questions answered pretty quickly. Now, yeah, with hotel general managers, they are not going to be our primary user group for these types of reports, but we know we want to have some reports that are straightforward enough for them to leverage. And the other basis for this is, again, we're migrating legacy reports that they are familiar with, so we are trying to. We're not trying to get too cute with our design and delivery reporting right now. We're trying to give them something that's familiar to them, that the look and feel is going to be not too big of a leap from what they're used to seeing.
So you talked about the support teams. How big are your support teams and your training teams?
It's a good question, Zara. Do you have an idea? We have a dedicated team that works through ServiceNow, so we're basically leveraging what's already exists within Hilton. This is just another, path of support tickets, but I don't know if in terms of scale what we have.
In terms of sizing, it depends on the specific area of support that a user is seeking. So we have a triage process where, depending on the type of ticket, it'll be escalated to the appropriate team. So the majority of our support is at that level 1. As it goes up to levels 2 and 3, we have smaller teams. Like anywhere from 3 to like 15 team members per team that oversee and respond to support tickets. But also in regard to providing that training, the user feedback and the support go hand in hand. Depending on any common support tickets we see or the type of feedback we receive, we work with our change management team appropriately to build out materials relevant to those type of questions.
And to add on to that, what is the skill set of the change management and support teams?
By skill set, do you mean like, I guess,
Analysts, technical people? Are they business folks that are just trained in MicroStrategy? Like, what skill set do you have to provide that support and change management?
Do you want to say that?
It's good, Coach. I mean, Hilton has a dedicated team that has done, other scale deployments of other reporting tools. So that was the team that we really reached out to once we realized we wanted to deploy this platform. It is a team that's done other sales system deployments to hotel level users. So I mean they are specifically focused with training, documentation, communication. It's really their bread and butter, and so we bring them along, give them the information on MicroStrategy, the reporting product. We have to provide them that content in terms of what the reports are, how to build them. But they've been great partners for us. I mean, as we're developing new reports, they're working with us along the way to get up to speed on what the new dashboards are going to look like, what information's in them, and they're building that training material with us. So.
Curious as well about the waves. How did you determine the order of the waves?
A lot of it's based on the usage of the legacy platforms that we're replacing. So we had some pretty good usage statistics. We knew who was using the old reports that we knew we were going to need to move over to this new platform. Ultimately, we're trying to decommission some legacy systems. So our IT team could provide us, these are who's using the report. So we really just prioritized once we introduce a replacement reporter dashboard, those are the users we're going to go after to get them onboarded.
Are you exposing any of your dashboards or allowing any of your users to access them via mobile? And once you transition all your users, do you have any, what's next? Do you have plans to implement Hyper or any shiny or advanced features?
Nothing mobile-wise. I'm looking at Ben. I don't. Mobile's probably not the direction we're going to go. But I mean, the other thing with the single sign-on, the other thing our users love is the fact that they don't have to go through a VPN to access the reports. And so even that's something that scales well. So yeah, I mean we're talking more laptop, desktop experience. And yeah, once we get this initial user base on board, I mean that's where that future state is. Yeah, we're going to keep growing and expanding. We've already got other business domains coming to us saying, hey, when can we get on the platform? We got reports that we want to make available to hotels as well. So that demand is there. It's more of a prioritization conversation for us.
Hi, you mentioned self-service. How much is that being used today based on your platform analytics results?
Self-service just in terms of self-serve reports. Yeah. That's the primary. I mean, what most of our dashboards are really data grids with some customization. Users are picking attributes and metrics, so it is very much a self-serve model now. Again, because we're basing it on some legacy reporting, we're trying to keep it as close to the information that the users are accustomed to. So yeah, some of our reports are a bit more customizable than others. Those also get more complex. So we're trying to do a little bit of both in terms of full customization. You can pick all the data you want and do a true data extract versus these are just some common business friendly views that makes sense to everyone, and there's not a lot of additional navigation steps. We're trying to balance both, but at the end of the day, we want to have that flexibility.
So you don't have a lot of folks connecting kind of to their own databases that you send to.
No, it's all through our platform, and we want to have that managed, governed data coming from us, so that and that's going back to that single source of truth. I mean, that's what's important is we want everybody looking at the same data so that so that we manage where some of these scattered reports may have had different business rules, getting different answers. We're trying to get everybody on the same page.
Hi. First of all, thanks for presenting. It seems that when it comes to the travel and hospitality industry, it seems that it's very important to stay competitive and to keep generating revenue. And it seems that one of the elements that's very crucial has been the customer loyalty program, such as Hilton Honors, which I'm a member, by the way. Having said that, how has this model play a role in analyzing that kind of customer loyalty program and behavior, and how has been very beneficial for those who analyze that kind of behavior?
Yeah, and that's definitely an opportunity. So, I mean, you're talking about customer loyalty. So, I mean, our customer analytics and our loyalty specific analytics, we've got dedicated analytics teams, looking at that data. And so that's another kind of opportunity in terms of business domains for us to enable this and bring more visibility to our on-property teams to see that activity. Yeah, because a lot of that is at the corporate level. And so that part of this is, really democratizing some of that and allowing our hotel owners and management companies to benefit from the same analytics that our corporate teams have.
Hey, really nice presentation. Thank you very much. I have two questions more related to training. In one of the screenshots, you had a dossier that was just for like new users. Could you speak a little bit about the content that is in that dossier?
Sure, yeah, the content in that dossier, if you remember, there was also a slide where I went over like a web page we created with self-service resources. So it essentially mirrors the resources that are there, but we wanted to also find a place within the platform to organize those materials. So anything from training documentation, like a frequently asked questions document, a report catalog that walks through an overview of each report and what filters and attributes are available in each, all the way to providing instructions on how to receive technical support through the technology support portal and links to providing any feedback or submitting any enhancement requests. So it's really mirroring what we have a separate web page for, but finding a place within platform to organize that content.
Yeah, that's great. That's a really nice touch. So thank you very much. Second question is, when you're talking about surveys to collect the feedback, is that a MicroStrategy survey product that you have in the dossier, or is that another vendor that you're utilizing for that?
Yeah, currently we've experimented with a couple other platforms outside of MicroStrategy to disseminate surveys to our user base. So a couple examples are MicroStrategy Forms or Qualtrics. Long term, we do want to find a way to work with MicroStrategy to implement feedback collection directly in platform. But for now, we've just been using other survey platforms to email those out and provide visibility to those surveys in other areas like the webpage that we have, just to direct user feedback to that channel.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Hi, just wanted to add two quick follow-up questions to a few questions that have been mentioned. So one around, you mentioned your different levels of support, L1, L2, L3. Does Hilton monitor all of those groups, or do you use any providers to kind of outsource, like MicroStrategy, the support and service of any of those tickets?
So currently within our product team, we monitor all support tickets at a high level. So because the dedicated HRH support is primarily composed of our project team members, we can work on a weekly basis together to review any active tickets or just at a high level take a look at any common trends or issues that are arising through our support process.
Yeah, Zara's keeping an eye on whether tickets are getting routed correctly, are the right people answering these questions. Yeah, I mean, that is something we have to keep an eye on. Yeah, because we do have, outsourced teams that are that level one, and so we do have to make sure they're getting those questions to the right teams in the right places.
Great, thank you. And then, gotta remember the second one. Around how users are accessing your reports. So you mentioned that obviously there's a wide variety of users across the organization, and some of those being on property. Are they leveraging the software directly, or are you pushing the reports to them in any different forms?
Our primary platform link can be accessed in a couple different ways. So within Hilton's internal website, there's an option through a user's applications to access the platform directly. The web page we have is another area where we provide visibility to the platform link. Through kickoff calls and office hours, we also make sure to share that link through the chat option, just to make sure users can access if they have any questions and walk through it together. So really any channel we can find to reiterate where to access the home library page, we'll take advantage of that opportunity. But Hilton's internal website is the main area where the platform link is hosted.
As properties are going more digital, any future objectives to bring that to tablet or mobile capabilities to view?
Something to consider, yeah. The whole mobile thing is kind of a conversation we're not quite there yet in terms of that delivery, but yeah, something we need to keep an eye on.
Teams bot integration we're very intrigued by. Teams is heavily used by all levels of Hilton, so having that directly in there and not having to go into the dashboard links, I think would get huge adoption, at least within Hilton.
Hi, just a question. Is your environment on-premise or is it in the MicroStrategy hosted cloud? The MCE?
It's on-premise, yeah.
It's in Hilton's own AWS
Gotcha.
instance.
Okay.
So we manage the platform ourselves. By the end of this year, we should be on MCE.
Okay, so that brings up my second question. How many admins do you have to support your environment?
We have 6 admins.
For 9,000 users?
Yes.
Okay, I keep trying to tell my boss I need more. That's why I'm asking. We have 5,000 and I have 2, so that's helpful. Yeah, but we're in the process of migrating to the MCE, so I'm hoping 2 means more in that environment, right?
Yeah, that's what we're expecting as well. And these admins are not just MicroStrategy; they also manage a lot of our other analytical tool stack, like Alteryx. We have a sort of legacy Tableau that we're trying to move off of that as well. So,
Us too.
Yeah. So similar story. Most people probably have.
Great, thanks.
Is there a plan to share a customized dossier with the shareholder of a certain property of the Hilton properties, specifying the performance of that property, and how would that be different from the current reporting?
Sorry, you're asking to share the report with whom?
With the shareholder of the certain property.
So if you mean like our hotel owner groups, yeah, I mean they're very much included with this. So I mean our user base is anyone that has access to our Hilton internal system. So that could be the actual hotel owners, ownership companies, management companies. Yeah, they're included with being able to access these reports. We want them to be able to monitor their portfolios using the same reporting that our corporate people do.
Hi. So as regards to the report maintenance, right? Is there any sort of implementation that you have around trying to I guess maintain the self-serve reports that's currently built by the end users or some analysts? And also regarding the governance, do you have any sort of security rules implemented or anything around that?
In terms of governance and security, yeah, it's really based on our single sign-on. So everyone within Hilton's platform has a user ID, and that controls one, what reports they can see to the extent that we limit that, but also which hotels or which portfolio that they can see. Because we have some users that are on property, they're only concerned with one hotel. We can only share data for one hotel with them, versus a corporate user that can see data enterprise-wide. So that's where that SSO is managing what reports and what properties you can return data for.
Okay. And also the report maintenance for the self-serve. Do you have any? Is there some team managing that, or how do you maintain that for the end users?
In terms of self-serve maintenance, I mean, users can bookmark and save their reports. We're not doing, I don't think, any other additional maintenance activity for that. So yeah, if users choose to save their own customized report, I mean that's something that they have the option to do. Our maintenance efforts are going to be more which just the default reports and maintaining what's available within everyone's library.
early on in your implementation last year, what would you say is your biggest boon to increasing user adoption?
I mean, really the single sign-on feature was, really, kind of tore down those barriers. I mean, that was something, we talked about having that new user dashboard as part of the library. Part of why we even came up with that is because we had people that were logging in before we could even give them the webinars. We with that single sign-on, people didn't necessarily have to wait to be invited to a webinar to access the platform. So we had to have some way to get people some self-serve information if they're coming in cold and not having the context. That's part of how we're managing that. So, yeah, I mean, we definitely have a pretty motivated user base, and I think a lot of that was it was really time to modernize, and I think people were ready for it. Yeah, we definitely had some enhanced features where users can report within their own currency. Again, we have a global audience, and so limitations with what currency, what exchange rate they can report in. We had some data features that were quick wins that users have liked.
So you said about Redshift as your data platform. Like, do you have any other data sources for your reporting platform?
In terms of what we're leveraging for HRH, I mean, we're pretty much everything is Redshift. I mean, we have some other legacy, databases and systems, but really Redshift is our focus in terms of how we want to deliver data.
I mean, just an extension to that, like, do you have any data sources sitting on your on-prem talking to this reporting hub in your private VPC?
Sorry, can you say one more time?
I mean, do you have any data sources on your data center, on-premises data center, talking to the HRH, which is in your private VPC?
We do still have them. I would say they're on the chopping block. We want everything to be in our centralized cloud data platform. It's in parallel with this project. We've been rethinking our entire comprehensive data strategy, which has gone very much hand in hand with the success of this project, of having everything centralized, normalized. We have master data management, and it's all in a single place. It would be a lot harder to be successful with this project if we had all disparate data sources with different data quality and different, elements for the different properties. So,
yeah, it's something we have to consider as any new business domains really have to have that data maturity for us to really get them on the platform. That's part of what we're considering as we decide what to do next.
Got a question on the scale rolled out. How long have you guys used MicroStrategy, and with the legacy reporting, what were people using prior?
When did we start with MicroStrategy, Ben? We've had it for a while.
Technically, we've had it since 2013 for a very, very limited audience. In 2018, they hired on basically the new Data and Analytics Center of Excellence as a new department that sort of reinvested in MicroStrategy for corporate audiences. Legacy systems, there are at least dozens of legacy reporting tools, data access platforms, front ends that have been custom coded, and we want to significantly strip that down. At the end of the day, we really want probably two tools. MicroStrategy, which is going to incorporate all of the major data strategy initiatives and all the major domains. And then for some self-service, we want to enable Power BI, just because we have the Office 365 enterprise license agreement, so it's free for all the corporate audience. So I think that's going to be our tool stack when all is said and done, and the dust settles, so to speak. MicroStrategy and Power BI plan to be our major two platforms.
You mentioned 9,000 users. How does that compare to your overall target user base, and what are your goals around sustained adoption?
Currently, in terms of our targeted deployment, we're targeting around 22,000 users migrating from legacy systems to HRH. But as we touched on earlier, our organic user base who joins via single sign-on currently comprises about 60% of our user base. So that link being shared maybe through word of mouth or just via it being posted on various platforms like our webpage has led to a lot of organic user adoption. So we can predict our user base in terms of the planned deployment, which a significant portion of that is kicking off this week and in upcoming months. But I guess the unknown variable is in terms of the remainder of Hilton users who are welcome to join through single sign-on.
Yes, how many licenses do we want to pay for, Ben? I think that's the question.
I think we have time for two more. that leads into the exact question I have, which is, when you have that many users, you know, we're talking in our company expanding from 50 users to 2,000. When you expand to 9,000 users, what were the challenges you had to go through on the licensing side?
I'll let Ben take that one.
Yeah, so yeah, we went through a lot of internal discussion about what's the right starting point for number of licenses. And we started with 30,000 and our executive team was like, no chance. And so we climbed it back down to about 10,000, and that's kind of where our current license agreement is sitting. Of course, now that we're already at 9,000, that's probably gonna have to go up, but at least now we can justify that. But a lot of it came down to what they've talked about a couple times now. In the custom SSO, it automates the activation and provisioning of that user in MicroStrategy automatically. Nobody has to go and create the user. Nobody has to go and fill out a form or a ticket or whatever it is to get access. It just instantly happens. But on the flip side, because we know that most people are not logging in every day, especially hotel users, which is the vast majority, they might be in once a month or once a quarter even. We have an automated system, so if you don't log in for 90 days, we turn you off. But as soon as you come back in with the automated SSO, we turn you back on. So the user doesn't see us managing the licenses behind the scene. They're not losing their bookmarks or their content or anything like that. Subscriptions will stop, but as soon as they go back in the system, they'll start back up. So that's kind of how we maintain a consistent license count, is through that automated provisioning and automated disactivation.
Can I rephrase that?
Sure.
How do you manage what license they get? There's a lot of different licenses.
We default to consumer because at the hotel user, the vast majority of what people care about is subscriptions and bookmarks. That covers the vast majority of what they need to do. With some of the self-service reporting, we just have a lot of options for them to choose in attribute selectors and metric selectors, so they can really create a report specific to them. And then if people really need to go above and beyond, which it does happen, there's some power analysts that help multiple properties, that then goes through the process of ticket submission. So we want to add a little bit of friction there because power user licenses are more expensive. We don't have as many. So that's kind of that's where the gatekeeping starts. That's a good question. We haven't really started the renegotiation of what that contract is going to look like. It's definitely not going to be less licenses than we have now. So we'll just take it back to sort of the executive investment committee and figure out sort of what is going to make sense for the next year.
I think we have time for one more.
Okay, so you were just talking about using Power BI for your self-service analytics. We have a very similar environment. Are you doing that simply, is that mostly for licensing reasons that you're doing that? And are you exposing MicroStrategy's schema layer to the Power BI users?
Yeah, so the main reason that we have Power BI is really for the teams that are not really being served as part of the strategic enterprise initiatives. So there's always going to be smaller teams like FP&A or HR, smaller teams that need to manage their own stuff, but not to the point where we want to go through the hoops of allowing HR data into MicroStrategy, get all the security and compliance approvals just for a smaller team. So that's where, with Power BI and with Microsoft Office, that's all taken care of. So that's kind of the types of use cases we funnel into there, rather than keep MicroStrategy our more governed, strategic, analytical system. Power BI more for those smaller teams that just need some kind of capability.
But would they have access to the the MicroStrategy layer?
Anybody has access to MicroStrategy.
Okay, through Power BI, I'm saying.
Nobody's done that.
Okay,
Nobody's tried it.
Okay.
It's technically possible, but we haven't really gone through that use case.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's all we have time for. So let's give another round of applause for Hilton.